So the next deck that we're going to play today is similar to the one we just played, except we're flipping the script here. We're US UK ramp. It's very the deck looks very similar, obviously. Just that I guess the main difference is that we're running more individually powerful cards at the top end rather than trying to buff our smaller units into real threats with like a Rule Britannia at the top, and there we go. Brain fart there. I don't have... needs more honeys? Maybe. We have more ally slots, so I could probably throw in some more honeys in there. But you know what I think we want to do? Is learning the lessons that we did from that last deck. I think we want to cut some number of war bonds and fit in some more of that other stuff and see how it feels. I definitely like the Corsairs and the Avengers and the Flying Fortress, all that stuff. All the bombings up at the top in here. Strategic bombing, carpet bombing, high altitude bombing. This deck is just going to bomb the crap out of you. We even have 3 death from aboves here as well. I do think this deck probably wants some number of war bonds though. But do we want one more honey? Honey, honey. Awoken Giant seems fine. I really like Hellcats. As a form of like, it's like removal and reach. Like it depends on what you need it for. Right. Yeah, I think I want a couple war bonds. 3 has always felt a bit much. We could put another we can do it. But I feel like I want another honey. It's either we can do it or honey, because I want more life gain in this deck. I want more ways to get out of range of Commonwealth. Those nasty, nasty Commonwealths. And I could see cutting the war bonds for like War Machine and like, I don't know, something else. Patrol's decent. Do we actually even want Awoken Giants? Do we want more patrols to kill pesky commandos and honeys on the opposing side of the table? Obviously they can get it out of range, but on that critical turn 2, if we have more patrol in hand, then we can just get them. Is that better than like... Is a 3rd patrol better than a 3rd death from above in that case? I don't know. We'll just leave this as is and see how it feels, I think. Less talky, more blowy things up. How about that? Probably on the aggro plan. They could fill their support line with things like Nebelwerfers and those 109th Engineers. This might be okay. Might be too slow, though. This could be wrong to keep this. I kind of want to, though. Blackwatch to slow down their alliances and or Blitzkriegs and also a guard. This could be okay, though, as well, because it gets rid of buffed tanks. Okay, that's a more reasonable mix. Oh, they're on Alpine. Okay. Get wrecked. They're on Alpine. I thought so hard about like the German-US aggro matchup. Now they're on Alpine and gonna savage me. Rip me. I think we need to be pretty aggressive here. I just want to make sure I'm spending my resources every turn. Otherwise, we're gonna lose tempo. I don't think I want to run this out on 3, though, because he could easily counter it with something. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to do, though. Yep. That's kind of what I was afraid of, but we do have this, I guess. This one unit can, like, devastate us. Gonna hope for a really good high-altitude bombing next turn. Or Seaborne Invasion, or Carpet Bombing if we run that off the top. Sure. See what we get. Hit. Didn't get the biggest one that we wanted to hit, but... Alright, we're done here. Had quadruple encirclement. Can't even play two things out. Gotta hope they have, like, just Alpine units in hand. Oh, we're dead to Blitzkrieg, too. He's probably doing the math. Move this forward. Blitzkrieg. These two trade into this. This finishes us off. Exactly. Okay, now he can Blitzkrieg. This protects us from a comet for a turn, but, like, that's not enough. We have to, like, dodge comet for, like, 7 turns, and then we can maybe pull it back. Oh, if that found comet, it's over. I could buy us a turn with... We can't beat Comet in the long term, so I just basically have to hope this hits the tank, and then he doesn't have it. That's too expensive, unfortunately. So we have to go for the 50-50 again. GG. Yeah, he kind of had the nuts to start. Nothing we could do about it. 3-2 untargetable that gets bigger with other units on the board. Still pretty good card, it turns out. That's fine. Alpine isn't a deck that a lot of people are running right now. It's not something I'd expect to see in the tournament a lot, so you shouldn't put too much weight into, like, considering making changes to your deck because you lose to something that you're unlikely to run across. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe there's, like, a secret meta happening right now where that's, like, that card is the shit. And come tournament day, I'm just going to get beaten by back-to-back Alpine decks. It is also a tournament where people are submitting 3 decks, so I guess it's not unreasonable that people could be using their Germany slot to register Alpine. It's a possibility. This is why I emphasized at the beginning of the stream that proper testing is actually important when you're going into a tournament, not like what I'm doing right now. You're almost certainly going to run into people who are using their Germany slot to run the German-US aggro deck, not German-Italian Alpine. So You should be making deck building decisions based on that. Almost certainly. Yep, I believe that. It's because on the ladder, people play a lot of aggro, so ramp is going to suffer on the ladder more than in a tournament setting. Yes, and the other thing to keep in mind is that this tournament is a choose 3. You have to bring 3 decks to the tournament, and each player knows the other player's deck list and can ban one of their decks. So technically speaking, if you don't like facing German US aggro and you don't want to build decks with that in mind, just ban that deck from your opponent every game. So therefore, if you like playing aggro, you need to build 2 aggro decks if that's your game plan going into this tourney, because your German US aggro deck's probably just going to be banned. Yeah, you can run 3 aggro lists, but they all have to have different major nations, so you can't have 3 Germany aggro lists. Guess we just pass. It's going to be interesting. That's kind of why I'm interested in seeing this tournament. I'm interested in the format. I'm interested in the time commitment. Those are like the main things I'm interested in seeing. And because then I ultimately want to just understand if playing competitive cards in this way is something I'm interested in doing in the long term. Well, that is unexpected. I mean, you definitely could do that. I was half tempted to enter this tournament with 3 ramp decks. I was gonna go US-UK ramp, UK-US ramp, and German-US ramp with exploit the gap. Because that's just sounded funny to me. So, guess we'll just do this. There's over 200 registered. I think they've capped the tournament at 212 players, but there's extra they have extra people who've signed up that will be fill-ins if people drop the day of the tournament. Like if people fail to register, they'll be filled in. Yeah, ramp till you're the champ. But yeah, the key for me personally is you gotta have fun with what you're playing, because the tournaments can be so long and such a slog. So it's definitely important that you play what you enjoy. Boy, oh boy, what am I supposed to do here? I guess I do... If I do this, he death touches. Or I guess I could... No, I can't do that because this is blocking. He death touches, it destroys something crappy, and then I'm in a bad spot. What is the other option? If I take a turn off to War Bonds, I'm just not going to get any cards, but I get more resources, so I can start doing more stuff. But it doesn't matter because it's like... It's too much of an investment. I'm not going to make up for the credits I spent. But it does get me to Seaborne Invasion faster, I suppose. No, maybe it is just the Corsair. These death from aboves aren't very good. I'd have to get lucky. If I could do both of them in the same turn, I would, but I can't. Ouch, that's a sad loss. That is a good question. I actually don't know. I assume it's best of 3. There's no way it's best of 5. Rounds would take too long. It might actually be best of 1 in the Swiss rounds, and then best of X in the top 8. They may have clarified this at some point, but I don't recall seeing an answer to that question specifically. I can go 4, 2, 2. So it's best... Okay, so even in the Swiss rounds, I have to... So what... My opponent and I each ban a deck from the other, and then you have to win... You have to win with 2 different decks. So I have to win with one of my decks, and then I have to use the other deck the next... Like, let's say I win... My opponent bans deck A. I win the first game with deck B. That means I have to play the rest of the that means I have to play the rest of the match with deck C. Guess I'll just do this. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, really? That's a Hearthstone thing, eh? I didn't realize that. That's kind of interesting. Okay, well, I'm gonna Death from above this, I think. Could double patrol it now. Yeah, well, that's because MTG is a game with sideboards, right? so you can have a single deck that can then transform between games, which personally I think is a very interesting concept. And I wouldn't mind seeing it exist in cards, but I understand that just in this day and age, not only is like sideboarding a skill people don't necessarily want to develop or are not interested in developing, it does mean, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know how to explain it. It's something that I feel like a lot of new people who are new to card games don't, it might not be interested in. And it slows the game down overall. Like if your best of one ladder just encourages more games and then to have your tournament be something familiar where you can continue playing best of one, but like just in a slightly different way, I think is probably more ideal. So I'm assuming I'm just gonna surrender here. Like I haven't really been paying attention to this match. Through a combination of like reading chat and the fact that it's resistance and it's putting me to sleep, so we'll just move on. Like we're probably lost that game anyway, so. Oh, hold on, I'll be back for 1 second. And we're back. Yeah, it's kind of wild to me how like the concept of a sideboard is like such an archaic concept nowadays. But like, how old is Hearthstone at this point? Like, when did that game come out originally? Was that like 20? Was that the early 2010s or 2014? So close. There was this old TCG that I used to play called Hex Shards of Fate that did it, because it was basically trying to be an MTG clone but digital, except among a bunch of other mistakes that I think that were made with the core design philosophy of that game, which I won't get into, they didn't fully embrace the digital design. Like, they didn't edit and rebalance cards that were problematic. They just did bans like MTG, which I think was a huge mistake. And one of the key problems of the game in my experience. But anyway, so I learned, even though I wasn't a big MTG player, I learned sideboarding skills from playing that game, and I really enjoyed the concept. Because I'm not a huge best of one fan. I would love a sideboard format for this game too, honestly, but if we ever do get one, I don't imagine it's coming anytime soon. Yeah, like Hex is what got me into really into card games. I was always into them, but like it pushed me like into a new era. So like that was back in 2012, I think. But full disclosure, one of the first card games I ever played and really got into was Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe makes some people cringe, but honestly, old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Was really fun back in the day. Am I supposed to keep this in smokescreen, or am I supposed to clog up the front line? I'm supposed to make him come to me, yeah? I'm actually fine with this hitting either of those things. Yeah, like the last The last time I dipped my toes into the Yu-Gi-Oh pool was with like the Yu-Gi-Oh GX era. I played like the game they had on the Game Boy Advance. I think it was called Yu-Gi-Oh GX Duel Academy or something like that, and it was pretty good. It was pretty fun. And then like years later, I tried to download some game on my DS because it was on sale, and it was like around the era, like just before they introduced Pendulum Monsters, and I had no frickin' clue what was going on in that game anymore. Every card is like a wall of text. Like I felt like I was reading a game of the entire Song of Ice and Fire series every time I tried to get like learn how to use a new deck. No, this was like right before Duel Links came out, and I just kind of like new Yu-Gi-Oh turned me off. I guess Duel Links started like back like with old school, right? I don't know where the game's out now, but I don't know. It just kind of turned me off, so I just like didn't even bother. I tried Gwent like briefly, and it didn't click with me. It seems like an interesting concept, though. But yeah, Gwent just never clicked for me. He ruined what meta? Like, he ruined the Gwent meta? We about to get missing? Nope. Oh no, I didn't want to play that. Ah, crap. Yeah, I'm aware that Swim does Runeterra nowadays because I watch a streamer that just recently got into Runeterra, and so I see on my Twitch feed like who are the top Runeterra streamers, and I know he's one of them. Runeterra is something I might try and even stream someday, but no promises yet. In fact, my long-term goal for this channel would be to play a lot of different card games, digital or otherwise. Obviously, it's hard to play non-digital card games just because it's just so hard to convey what's going on if you're using like a camera or two. But so anyway, my long-term goal for this stream would be to play a variety of different digital card games. Not just like collectible or like digital collectible card games like this, but like even like games like digital card games that were originally board games maybe. That still have a strategic element, that still have a lot of interesting decisions and like fundamentals that translate between games. Basically, games that a lot of people who play games like Runeterra, Hearthstone, and Cards would also enjoy. Opinion on this expansion so far. I think it's excellent. If you're into PvE content, I think it's worth considering. If you're into PvE and PvP, you'll love it. The great value. I guess you could argue like it's kind of annoying that you have to play every time today. It hits the 1/1 every time. But yeah, would love to, if I can slowly add more streaming hours to my schedule, I'd love to add more card games to the rotation. Things like Runeterra and I don't know. That's about it for now. Cards, Runeterra, maybe Pokemon. I've been watching a lot of Pokemon TCG online lately. Actually doesn't seem unreasonable. Like, there's only 2 viable decks in the meta right now, but if we're playing, like, low ladder matches, it could be fun. Basically, I just want variety of gameplay. Like, I'd probably never stream Hearthstone because, like, well, screw Activision Blizzard, among other things. What's Pokemon Showdown? Enlighten me. Is that the version where you're only allowed to play the pre-builds? Because I'm pretty sure there's a competitive version of Pokemon where you only play with pre-builds. And so they're all relatively balanced? Oh, it's not a card game. Okay, no, I'm talking about the card game. How many people here played Duelist back in the day? That was a game I played the crap out of when it was in early beta, I guess it was. That game was neat. This could be good if he's on the plains. I don't remember too much about the monetization. I was a pure free-to-play player for that game, and I remember having reasonable decks, but yeah, definitely far from a full collection. So maybe it wasn't as reasonable as I remember. NG, thanks for the follow. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for your support. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday wherever you're at in the world. Yeah, I played a bunch. Played or tried a bunch. Duelist, Chronicle, RuneScape Legends. Probably one of the most innovative and unique card games I've ever played. Smite had one that was very similar to Duelist. I think it's still around. But I enjoyed the brief amount of time I put into that game. I think I do this. Oh, I loved RuneScape Legends. I thought it was great. It needed more card variety, like the card pool was too shallow. But the presentation and the overall concept I thought was great. I think I'll go like this and this, because even if it misses the 5/5, we have an Avenger later. Oh, I guess... well, yeah. Yeah, I know that feel. Do I just trade the Hellcat for their Mosquito? There's so many card games, like physical card games I've tried to get into over the years, and it just like impossible to find people to play with. My wife doesn't much care for card games, and like I moved away from all my friends that I could force to play. And so there's just like nothing to play these days, unfortunately. So if this misses the tank, we're in a feel bad spot. So maybe I'm not supposed to play the tank, I'm just supposed to play this. Oh, that's perfect. I didn't think he'd attack. Ooh, that's also pretty good. Okay, well, we're definitely doing this. I feel like... Should I Avenger or should I Patrol? I should Avenger, right? Like, I can let this go off for a turn. Stormbound. I haven't even heard of that one, I don't think. Oh, why did I target the one that doesn't have smoke screen anymore? That was so stupid of me. Well, now I gotta look it up. Because I like the idea of, like, a card game that also has, like, a spatial element to it because it has a board. That looks neat. Is this game new? Did it just recently come out? Newish. And it's free to play. I might put this on my wish list just to... Oops, we're playing a game here still. So we killed all our stuff because he's a big meanie. So I'll play the Flying Fortress. Okay, so now we're gonna bomb the small thing. Blow that up. I'm gonna keep this in hand, because if he's running things like Wolfpack, I'd, you know, 50% chance to get rid of the useless card. Yeah, good tournament training stream just talking about other card games. Now he's gonna play Wolfpack. Oh, no, not quite. I think I want to actually patrol that. Actually, I'm carpet bombing and then blowing up the other two things. That's what I'm doing, right? Yoo-hoo. Game. Yeah, let's just keep the board clear. I'm just gonna bookmark this game here. You blew up my bomber. Oh my god, this is just like a bomber slap fest. Unfortunately, we're not winning. We're like 2 draws behind because of his Panthers. This patrol is going to be pretty clutch. Or it'll just fail miserably and we'll be sad. No, I'm trying we can do it in this build. If that hits the... Oh, we got a game, boys. The problem is they have a full hand. Well, a nearly full hand and we got nothing. That's fucking hilarious. So sorry for the swears. Well, this is the first game where we've run low on cards. And the main reason is because they played a bunch of discard effects. Or draw denial effects. We're trying something new, Kalen. I'm just trying something different. I could see myself exchanging the war bonds for the special deliveries and keeping the we can do it if we think that that's a valuable thing to have. Yeah, you definitely want to attack with all of those first. I think I might want to keep that one. Yeah, I mean, that was just one of those games where our opponent's cards lined up well into what we were doing. He had the removal into the draw denial. If he had found the draw denial first, we would have just ran him over. So German or UK German control deck can work very well when their draws line up into what you're doing. But that's just control decks in general, typically. That's kind of annoying. Don't have a real way to deal with that, huh? This is a pretty reasonable card, eh? Like 4K2 3/6 heavy armor 1 is already fine, and then if you can buff it once or twice, it's just starts to become insane. Clicky, clicky. Pretty decent. Maybe I'm just supposed to let them come at me because I have Awoken Giant. Somehow we've become the aggro deck in this match. Yeah, pretty much agree with what Sino was saying there regarding discard decks. Discarding is not about affecting the board state, it's about choking or about denying or running your opponent out of resources. It is a controlling mechanic, or it's part of a controlling strategy, which is, the strategy which is overall just to run your opponent out of resources. But it falls prey to decks that are good at generating a lot of tempo, because if you're, generally speaking, if you're discarding cards from your opponent's hand, you're not affecting the board, and if you're not affecting the board, then they can just kill you before your card advantage matters. I definitely want to keep all of this. If their tokens, Awoken Giant's good. I want one more bonds. Yeah, I think I keep all of this. This is a great hand if they're tokens. Assuming we have enough time. They are on the play after all. Huh. I think I want to run out the number... Is that what I want to do? Yeah, I think I run this out this turn, and then next turn I go War Machine shoot with this. Or this. It does mean we don't get to play the Black Watch on... 2, but... I think I'll do this though. they're just going for it. Okay. Okay, with that in mind, I'm gonna Grenadier Guards. And hope to Carpet Bomb next turn to much success. That's a nice pull for them. Okay, well, don't make my carpet bombing worse. We still carpet bomb. Yeah, a defining feature of control decks, typically speaking, is them gaining incremental card advantage. And the way that the British German control decks generally do this is that they look to get into the late game and choke and use discard effects to slowly drain you of cards. And in the case of like the Panther G, it also provides, like, it also presents a threat on the board that you have to deal with or die to, so so you also are often spending more cards to deal with that. And then they so it's like use British cards to stall into the late game so that you can clear the board against more aggressive strategies with things like carpet bombing, and then against more controlling strategies you're just running them out of resources. You're one-for-oneing them in the early game maybe, and then you're running them out of resources with your wolf packs and whatnot later in the game, in the late game. There's a more eloquent way to put all that, but that's essentially what. Yeah, these concepts, I don't know, for someone like me who likes to discuss and like analyze games, looking at something like that from another game can be fascinating to me, even if it doesn't directly apply to cards. Assuming we're gonna see a B-17 here if he has it. Does not. He is playing. Man, I'd love to play out these #1 commandos to deal with these, but it's probably not going to work out the way I want it to. Let's try this, though. Ah, I see our opponent is also a man of good taste. This is an interesting decision, though. Do I play this out now? It's probably just gonna get swept, but I mean, these are surviving sweeping, so I don't know. So our opponent has more cards than us, but we have a board, even though it's not the most impressive one, and a little bit more life, so like we got that going for us. Actually fine going like Black Watch, kill your thing, move up. Like, I'll kill that now while I don't really care about the units we have on board. The question in this game is going to be if we can overcome the card advantage, because our opponent's generating a lot of it. Did they play a War Bonds this game too? I don't know how they have room in their deck for mobilizations, War Bonds, and We Can Do It. Seems excessively greedy. But maybe they just don't care about being dead to rights to aggro. Then again, you could argue I'm running kind of a silly card in Hellcats. I just love that card. I can't get over that card. It's won me so many games because people just don't expect it. I think I actually want to do this. Unfortunately, this Black Watch not like the best against a player who's ramped up to 15k and will probably get further along. They probably are just not running any like things like Awoken Giants and Patrols, right? Like they're just all in on the War Machine up to turn 5 and then just go nuts with cards like this plan. Hellcat's just such a like it's such a good card. It's in most of my decks that are running US cards. Mid-range aggro doesn't matter. Yeah, it's great with Adler Command Vehicle for sure. Okay, should have led on attacking with this. Whatever. We're probably just gonna get buried by all the cards he's drawing. Like, he looks like he's like the full-on ramp, greed ramp, whatever you want to call it. So we're probably not winning anyway. Pretty bad draw. It's like, oh, look at that, an awful draw. Blow up your defender. Shoot here. Double shoot here. Hope it hits something bad. Oh wait, I can't double shoot there. I needed to use this. That's fine. We'll just leave. I would have to assume we would slowly lose that game. They've ramped so much and have so many cards. Like and we haven't seen any of their bombers yet. We haven't seen any of their Avengers or B-17s. They're probably running a Pershing. Heck, they're probably even running some big ol', what are they called? They might even be running that Blitz bomber. The British Blitz bomber. Oh, you know what? We've played an hour with this deck already, so maybe we want to cut... no, we can go a little bit longer. I'm only playing 3 decks today, so... Yeah, I guess it depends on the context of the game. Because in card games like Cards, tempos usually refers to board presence. Well, it refers to... It's a mix of like board presence slash resource efficiency. I guess you can really just say it's like cards played, number of cards played. It just depends on whether or not it's relevant. In the games you're playing. Boop, boop, boop. Keep this in case he's on the... I think we want to throw that back though. And maybe we just dump this whole hand. GG's J King. I screwed up that last turn, but I think we were dead to your impressive hand size anyway. I gotta ask, if you wouldn't mind, maybe you don't want to reveal what your deck is made up of, but how are you fitting War Bonds, We Can Do It, and what was the other one we were saying? War Bonds, We Can Do It. What's the other five one in your deck? Oh, shoot, now I'm forgetting. Mobilization, that's it. How are you fitting all these 5-cost orders in your deck? Are you just like have no bottom end other than War Machines? Whoa, that ant just crawled over the card. Is that new? I thought they didn't do that. It makes sense. I just thought they didn't do that. So do I like kill one of them with a Hellcat and offer this up as a sacrifice to the other 2 bombers and hope that, well, even if he buffs one of them, the Avenger kills it? Just play out more small things that die to carpet bombing, please. Okay, fine. I could play this out, and maybe it's right too, but I feel like we're not under any pressure right now, so I can just like chill. See if we can get more value out of this by hitting more of our units. That's awkward, because we can kill that, but it's not really advantageous to do so. Okay, well he's not holding up Ultra, so I think I'm definitely carpet bombing this turn. These things surviving sweepers are so awkward. Bam, bam. Awkward for effects like this, anyway. What do I care more about, buffing my stuff or war bonds? I think I care about buffing my stuff more, so I'd rather this get ultra'd. No ultra. Guess we can play that out. Literally the worst hit. Ouch. That's one of the worst hits too. I think we just hold on to the commando. I'm assuming you meant 1939. Not the best hits, but you know. 19. I'm so confused. Oh, that's almost excellent here. Darn. Oh, this is pretty poopy. 3 toughness things? What the hell? That's cheating. Okay, we need another one of our sweepers here. Okay, that's a thing. Oh, F off. So we're dead. Unless this hits one of the planes. Which it did. Okay, interesting. Thanks for the insight, J King. How have you found your aggro matchups, like against the German US aggro? Like, obviously, if you can get the Surreys and the Commandos down, it's probably reasonable, but if you miss those cards, you're probably struggling a bit. But of course, that's the trade-off, right? Because you probably have an incredibly favorable matchup against other ramp decks. Because you're just going so much bigger than they are, and faster. What do we want here? Maybe? Maybe not? I think we gotta find cheap stuff. This on 3 would have been really great if we can draw a War Machine. Failing that... Oh, I see. They're not aggro, missing a 1-drop. I probably should have suspected that. Sure. Tactical Strike. It's not a card you see too often anymore just because it gets outshined by joint operation so much, but of course our opponent's playing it. Alright, so we're dead. Now he's just gonna start dropping discard effects like nobody's business, and we're just dead. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure he's eating that. Probably not playing out anything else. He doesn't need to. Do I want to play Seaborne Invasion or just want to hit face? Hit face. Our last two Seaborne invasions have been pretty bad. But we had some pretty good ones before that, though, so... Can't complain too much. Do I just double patrol that? Our opponent's probably fine seeing that. Because they will probably have things like Empire of the Sun in their deck. And so they just can completely bury us with cards if they so choose. Ouchies. Well, that sucks. I don't think we can play around. I don't know that we're in a position to play around missing, honestly. Like, I think we have to get aggressive. Because otherwise we're just gonna get buried in cards. I think this will be the last match we do with this deck, and then we'll move on to the final deck of the day, the ubiquitous German US aggro deck. So I can move that forward, and then I'm dead in... Ooh. Ah, very nice. So thoughts on this one. The Weekend Duets didn't feel as good in this deck as they did in the Rule Britannia deck, obviously. Because we're getting kind of buried by we're running out of gas for a lot of games, because the British deck at least has a couple of convoys to help it like keep its hand full a little bit. This one doesn't, so I think we definitely want to try to fit the special deliveries back in the deck. I still kind of like the special D. Where are you? I still kind of like the Weekend Duets though to counter carpet bombings and such, because I envision a lot of British control this weekend. It's just a question of what you can fit where. Maybe the Hellcats aren't good enough and we want to just cut them for some more stuff. But yeah, it's something I'll have to think about. For now, though, we'll keep the list as is, because that's the list we played today on stream, and that's what I'm going to be posting in the Discord and on the video, the associated YouTube video later. So we'll leave that for now.